What's up, nail geeks, and welcome back to another Arcana Lacquer video. I'm just smitten to show you all this collection. We have the Beyond the Myth collection. I had to double check myself here. I have lots of PR notes open up on my phone here for this month's, or rather this week's video recordings. The Beyond the Myth collection is a 12-piece set that is inspired off of different fables and story type things. And I do have to preface this video with the brand itself, as far as I have been swatching them thus far, they make beautiful polish, absolutely. And I encourage you to try them out, 10 out of 10. But I have to say, there is something about this collection that when I was swatching it, I was like, well, damn, like there's quite a bit of thermals. So if thermals and like that type of special effect is your jam, you're gonna be in a little bit of trouble. But these are so pretty. They're just so very, very well done. Throw up the collage right here next to me. They're very, very nice. So I'm very pleased and geeked to show these off to you. I will be dropping this video more than likely. I'm hoping I'll get this out before the launch, but I am going to have it go up for this Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's. If you want to treat yourself, there's all kinds of dirty enabling I'm going to be doing this weekend, including for this collection too. But I don't know. I love this weekend or type thing. So even if you don't have a significant other, love comes in all types of forms. So I'm just feeling mushy and gushy over here and pretty polishes to boot on top of that. So I'm going to quit yammering. Let's check out the Beyond the Myth collection. And starting off with Strange Spectacle. This one is inspired after the Loch Ness Monster, specifically the 90s black and white photos. Those used to scare the hell out of me when I was a kid. This is described as a black jelly base with silver magnetic pigment, holographic microflakes, and green to blue flakes. Now, I want to preface this with the fact that I used the velvet magnet effect for this one, and I feel like the video kind of captured it pretty well. I don't think my photos captured it well, but in person it looked really cool because the magnetic pigment is that nice chromey looking appearance. So it almost gives off this kind of mirror type of chrome effect. It's really pretty. Now, for opacity, I'm going to suggest 3 super thin coats or 2 light coats. This was very quick to build up to opacity, so your preference on that. It dried down flat, but no texture, so any top coat works. Nightmare of Point Pleasant is inspired by Mothman. This one is a gray when warm to black when cold thermal with bright red flakes. I was running pretty warm when I swatched this. So in a moment here, when you see the super warm state, you'll see that it's almost flirting with being a true clear. There is definitely a gray type of lean to that warm state. But with that said, I do think it will work over undies in that you could, possibly change what that warm state looks like. So a little bit of versatility with this one. I'm going to suggest 3 thin coats or 2 light coats. Personally, I liked that 3rd thin coat on my wide load nails just to kind of amp up and plump it up and give me the most payoff for those red flakes. I didn't have any texture per se with them, so I didn't see a need to use a glitter smoothing top coat. I think any top coat would be just fine with it, and you can see how contrasting that flake to cold state is. Emissary of Inari is a pinkish white when warm to darkened red when cold thermal with red to orange shimmer. This is one of my top picks in the set. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's very flattering and it's got that nice buttery jello type of jelly base to it. So I'm going to suggest 2 to 3 coats. Again, your preference on what you, or rather how you tend to polish. I think 3 thin coats on my huge nails worked the best. So those of you rocking shorties or nubbins, you might be able to get away with 2 normal coats. This will dry down on the flat side, so make sure you use a plumping glossy top coat to give it that gel-like effect. I thought both the warm and cold states were really flattering on me, despite this being pretty neutral in what I would classify it, especially on the warm state. But I think medium to deep skin tones, don't shy away from this one if you're curious. I thought it looked really cool on me. Ashes of Creation is inspired after the rebirth of the Phoenix. This is a creamy white base with yellow to orange flakes, orange to red, and bright red flakes. So this is straight what I would consider being a milky type of finish. I think 3 light or 2 normal coats works well with this one too. These paddle brushes will work really well, especially if you have, more narrow nails than what I've got. I could definitely see you getting away with 2 coats. This is one of those that I think, despite which amount of layers you go up to, 2 or 3, I think you'll see the tiniest bit of your smile line in really bright lights. If that bugs you, my disclaimer of a nude to you cream or a blurring base works here. But overall, this is a soft type of appearance, especially when you are taking into consideration that it allows those nice orange to red, warm shifting flakes to pop through. Kelpie's Guise is inspired after Kelpies and their shape shifting. This is a blue and warm to spring green when cold thermal with purple shimmer and green to blue flakes. I typically appreciate thermals that have more of a contrast between the warm and cold state, but this actually went up to one of my top picks in this release. It's really interesting, and I just think it embodied the inspiration so ridiculously well. And I love how the flakes here give this strong ocean looking appearance to it. Like I'm just getting straight up Kelpie vibes. It's just so well done. This one I'm also going to suggest 2 normal or 3 thin coats with it to plump it up. It did dry down decently flat, so use a good glossy top coat and it's going to get that nice gel-like appearance you see on my full hand shot here and on my swatch photos. Gorgon's Gaze is inspired after Medusa. This is a muted green when warm to blackened green when cold thermal with red to yellow shimmer. This is another one of my top picks in the set, and I am saying that just thoroughly shocked that I liked this one so much against my skin tone, given that I typically avoid pruglies or mossy type of greens like these, but I thought it was really pretty once I built it up to opacity. Now, this is one of those types of finishes that on the both warm and cold state on the second coat, you'll have wonderful coverage. But if you're like me and you like that thicker type of appearance on your nails, I think that third coat was necessary. It will also dry down really flat, which is indicative to thermal types of dry downs on their own. So make sure you use a good glossy top coat. And again, you'll get that nice gel appearance you see on the ice water and full hand shots here. Watch Your Sanity is based off of Hantu, which is off of the appearance in the game Phasmophobia. This is a light pinkish purple when warm to very dark purple when cold thermal, with purple glow in the dark pigment and green to blue to purple large particle shimmer. In my PR information, it did state that the warm state to this one, so yes, it's a glow in the dark and it's a thermal, the warm state was what is going to glow in the dark, and I charged this one with my nail lamp as I normally do. It's just a standard run-of-the-mill LED lamp, and shockingly, I got both the warm and cold states to pick up on my photos. And just PSA, it did look like that in person too. So I think if you charge it or rather give it a kickstart with some type of light, I think you'll see that. It is very bright when it glowed in the dark. I had no issues capturing that photo right there. No acrobatics needed. Now this one you might need maybe a glitter smoothing top coat just because glow in the darks typically will dry down super flat, almost matte. Mochi on the Moon is inspired after the story of the rabbit in the moon. This one's a gray crelly base with bright blue to purple aurora pigment and silver reflective glitter. This is another one of my top picks in the set. I so appreciated how strong this blue shimmer is. And when these are done correctly, these blue shimmer finishes, they're always going to be my top picks. I just think they're so flattering and glowy and pretty. And then when you put them against a gray base, I just think it pops well. Now for this one, I'm going to strongly suggest going up to 3 thin coats. Because we have that silver reflective glitter going around here, you're going to want to use that texture from the previous coat to adhere the next coat and just kind of apply it like you would with a super gritty reflective glitter finish. 3 super thin coats, a glitter smoother, and a glossy top coat. Brynhildr is inspired after the namesake. This is after the legendary Valkyrie. It's described as a bright blue base with pink to yellow large particle shimmer and green to purple, pink to green, and silver to blue flakes. This is another one of my top picks, and I'm not just saying that because I'm blue biased. I know blue is always going to be my favorite in terms of polished colors, but as you see it built up here, you can see why. It's got this nice, I don't know, it's like a mosaic type effect, and I appreciate that the flakes are of the small to tiny particle size, so it gives you that mylar effect without being too obnoxious. I really liked that. So 3 thin coats a very thin layer of glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat. Now I want to know I only use the glitter smoother just because my top coat of choice right now is on the thinner side. Woodland Sprite is after the forest nymphs covered in leaves and flowers. This is a sheer purple jelly base with green to purple shimmer, teal to blue flakes, and pink reflective glitters. This is light and delicate, and in my opinion, this is bordering on being a milky type of finish. That said, if a visible nail line bugs you, you might see it in super bright lights if you have a free edge of any sort. So again, disclaimer of your undie of choice applies here. I'm going to strongly suggest 3 coats. It doesn't apply per se like a really gritty, true reflective glitter finish, but it does have a pretty flat dry down. And of course, when you sprinkle in those reflective glitters, it's just flat. So you want to help out your glossy top coat and use that glitter smoother. From Air to Sea is my other top pick. This one's inspired after sirens, specifically the original sirens that flew in the air and modernized sirens that swam in the ocean sea. This is a light pink when hot to warm to blue when warm to deep purple when cold thermal, with blue to green shimmers and pink, blue, purple flakes. This applies like a very self-leveling, smooth cream. I think most of you are going to be just fine at 2 coats, but if you have these huge nails like myself, you might want to go up to that 3rd thin coat. Completely your preference on that. As you can see here, it did plump it up pretty well, but I probably could have stopped at the 2nd coat. Now this is what I would almost want to dub as being a bit of a almost tri-thermal type of thing. I did see an in-between state, as you can see on my swatch photo here. It's a touch more apparent in person, and especially as you're going in and out of the temperature states. Any glossy top coat works. I didn't have any issues with super flat dry down. And last but not least is Titania. This is inspired after the Queen of Fairies, described as a bright burgundy jelly base with blue to purple shimmer, blue to purple flakes, and pink reflective glitter. This is one of those medium types of pinks, in my opinion. It is a burgundy, I just want to note that. But I feel like with the blue, the super strong blue shimmer going on throughout the finish, it does kind of make it almost this pinkies type of state, almost like a burgundy pink type of lean. This is another one I will suggest going up to thinner coats with it and build it up to 3. If you tend to polish on the heavy-handed side, absolutely stop at 2 coats because it has a really squishy formula to it. You don't want to have over buildup because you're going to need to make room for a glitter smoothing layer to smooth out those reflective glitters. And we're going to wrap this up with the Will It Topper segment. This is where I use a black swatch stick to demonstrate if polishes have layering capabilities. So most of these have some versatility to them, given that we have lots of strong shimmers. The thermals, y'all know at this point what I'm going to say. A lot of them, I think you'll need to do a touch of color theory if you wanted to get, say, creative and put an undie under them. I do think they'll work. Just be mindful that most of these are pretty tinted, except for, say, Nightmare Point Pleasant, which was the Mothman one, which had that almost clear type of warm state and the black when cold state. So otherwise, I think you can get creative. I think you can have fun with these. But personally, I feel like I'm repeating myself at this point, especially on special effect polishes. I personally wouldn't topper them. And that's just because you want to appreciate all of the beautiful color changing states and maximize that shimmer power with each of these because they're all loaded up with shimmers. And in my opinion, 3 thin coats will always flatter these types of finishes the best. The Beyond the Myth collection is going to launch officially on Arcana Lacquer's website starting February 14th, today at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I will link you all below to Arcana's website if you want to get in there and check them out, in addition to other goodies and stuff like that too. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.